Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is your daily Bible class. We're looking at Revelation chapter 16 and the 7 bowls of judgment. Verse number 3 says, "The second angel poured out his bowl on the sea, and it turned into blood like that of a dead person, and every living thing in the sea died." Now, in one of the previous judgments, we had, of course, a judgment where 1/3 of all the sea creatures had died, and also the ships were destroyed. But in this judgment, what happens is the sea turns into blood, and every living thing in the sea dies. That would be absolutely catastrophic to the economies of the world. It would literally destroy all of the fresh, the water that is around. And every sea creature dies. That means every whale, that means the plankton, and all the things that give life to the sea are now dead. It would be nothing less than absolutely worldwide catastrophe. That's the only way I can describe it. And that is God's judgment. There will be an ecological disaster. And starvation will definitely be on the horizon for many, many people. Economies around the world rely on the ocean. And ships and all these things that are so important. The oceans, of course, cover almost 80% of the planet. And so it would just mean absolute chaos, absolute disaster. Then it says, "The third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water, and they became blood. Then I heard an angel in charge of the water saying, 'You are just in these judgments, O Holy One, you who are and which were, for they have shed blood of your holy people and your prophets, and you have given them blood to drink as they deserve.' And I heard the altar respond, 'Yes, Lord God Almighty, true and just are all your judgments.'" Now, the reason why both the salt water and the fresh water are turned into blood, completely and totally undrinkable. Now, the first one was terrible, but the second one basically deals with all the drinking water on the planet. That it means that literally this nation is, and our nation and any nation throughout the world is going to be facing certain doom. And the reason why is because of how they had shed the blood of God's people and the prophets and the people who spoke on behalf of God. Obviously, he was talking about the two witnesses and talking about all the people who had lost their lives. This was going to happen. There is going to be a disaster absolutely unparalleled on the planet. And this is the second and third judgment. There are still 4 more coming. But all the water has been destroyed in this particular, the second and third judgments. And mankind will be judged. And see, the interesting thing is that God gives the reason why. He said, "Your judgments," and it was interesting, he says, "I heard the angel in charge of the waters say." Interesting that there's an actual angel that watches over the waters, both the fresh water and the salt water. Did not know that. I kind of just saw that this time. I've read the book of Revelation many, many times. But when you go through it and you look at it, you say, there's an angel in charge of all the waters. According to John, there is. According to the book of Revelation, there is. And this angel protects the waters. And obviously, there are some other mechanisms that God has put into place, but very interesting. And so the angel said, "You are totally just, and you are totally righteous for doing this." He says, "You are the one who are, and you are the one who always will be." He says, and this type of judgment is because of the blood that has been shed by the Antichrist, by the world system, by the people of this world. He says, "For your holy people and your prophets." He says, "You are giving them exactly what you deserve." And then the altar responded, "Yes, Lord Almighty, True and just are your judgments. God is not mocked. Whatever we sow, we shall reap. If we sow to the flesh, we reap to the flesh. If we sow to the Spirit, we reap to the Spirit. In this particular judgment, we see God being totally just and totally righteous in doing what he does. The fresh water, the salt water, is poison. It's destroyed. Mankind is facing certain disaster. Why? Because they shed the blood of God's people and his spokesman. These are terrifying events, but they speak about the fact that God will deal with one and everyone according to their works. The only thing that will protect us is having a relationship with God. I hope that you choose this time period, because if you choose the tribulation period, it will mean certain death. You'll be one of those individuals who will give their lives, and this judgment will, of course, have to do with you. But if you give your life to Jesus right now, you won't have to face that. Think about that. My name is Robert Dean Steele. You have yourself a godly day.